Before we get started, make sure you hit that subscribe button. It only takes 2 simple clicks. Click, click. Enjoy the episode. Hello viewers, and this is Josh24214, and welcome back to another Friday of My Hero Academia. And yeah, today we're going to be tackling chapter number 238, and on the previous chapter, we just finished up with Shigaraki's origins, and we also learned that Shigaraki is All for One's last name. So we only know All for One's last name, with that being Shigaraki, but we don't know his first name, so it'll probably brought up much later on. And we're back in modern day, and Shigaraki finally realizes, yeah, he doesn't need his father's hand on his head anymore, and it was kind of stupid anyway. Terrible design choice. So let's get into chapter 238, and today's chapter is entitled Liberation. And we continue off where we last left off, with Shigaraki just holding off his father's hand that he doesn't really need anymore, and he's just decaying it. And he goes on for a bit of a talk sentence. This little thing. Number 238, Liberation. Liberating himself from the hand that holds him back. And we get a flashback to his father's murder, and we see the memories of, I think way back in the beginning of the series, when he first appeared in the UA incident, when he was first introduced, and I can't remember who. I think it was uh Eraserhead knocking his father's hand off into the ground, and Shigaraki picks it up and put it back on his face. And we cut back to Monday, and he completely destroys it and just crushing it, saying, "Is of no use to me." And we see, like, Reed Destro just about to attack with his dark bomb again. And on the second page, we continue with Reed Destro just about to attack him with the same attack again, and he says, "Stress 100%." And he's just going to go all out this time, crushing Shigaraki. Just tried to do the same trick what he did 4 chapters back. He grabs him, and we continue with Redestro's thoughts, and yet, or this is Shigaraki's thoughts, and yet. And while on the top half, that Redestro goes for his slam attack, while Shigaraki just uses his already good hand, his only good hand left, just to grab a part of him. And we don't see on the bottom panel of page 2, but we do hear a crumble crumble, so he must have grabbed onto something. So on page 3, we get this massive explosion going off. Yeah, he continue. This attack just blows up the entire city, blowing it up skyward like an atomic bomb went off in the artwork. And while that's going on, that Giga is just having fun, hopping around, playing around like a playground with some of the Liberation Army thugs. And we see also on the third page, on page 3, we get a bit of the continuate, like the end of Eskimo Man and Dobby, and Eskimo Man just basically flees and just goes up in the air and goes somewhere. And we see the aftermath of Reed Destro's Darkhold bomb. And there was smoke. We still see Reed Destro, but out of the smoke and devastation, someone goes out of it, like, badass. And on page 4, we see Shigaraki in a kind of a really good artwork. Like, really badass. A really badass one page, one page, one panel, a full splash page of Shigaraki in all. He's completely banged up, but the coat is that terrible coat that I brought up before. I like it in this panel that Shigaraki's design is a lot better, and I think that the coat should just stay destroyed, but you can have pretty much else retailored and just. I kind of see Shigaraki with this look on page 4 much better. Just needs a much better suit, but I do dig the new coat, the way the coat is done in the artwork. Hopes that stays and not be replaced with that goddamn coat I've been bugging about. And we see Shigaraki continue his dialogue. Honestly, it ain't much if I just destroy it before you swing. Yeah, he kind of earns his badassery here. And so we continue on page 5, and we see Destro shocked by this.
NANI?
Yeah, he's scared out of his wit. And we have Shigaraki continue his dialogue. Looks like your size is just for show, huh? Look, I get it, man. It's just fun. It's fun to just absolutely obliterate things you don't like. And Destro doesn't take that offensive lightly. Then he gets his turn of providing, adding insult. My power is but a means to liberate the people, a means to execute Destro's will. And we see a crack down the side. I think he got hit by the. I'm not sure by the artwork. Maybe Shigaraki was grabbing onto with his good hand. Was Destro on the side? And on the next panel after that, we get more of Destro's dialogue. What is this throbbing in my chest I've been feeling? And while that's going on, we see like a big chunk of metal popping out of the ground? Okay. Not just one. No, there's more than one. About 4 of these things coming out of the ground? And Destro continues his monologue. Is it fear? No. There's no way. My quirk converts fear into power too. Then just why? And Shigaraki interrupts this. This Destro guy sure seems awfully stiff. And then something weird goes on with Destro. Like the metal bits from the ground starting to merge with him, and we do get a bit of a flashback with Destro with Rikinya-san, or probably Destro. I don't really care. And we go to a flashback when he's just a kid, and talking about he's just a kid, and I think his mother is talking, or some of the higher ups or something. We have been living in hiding for generations now. You are the one who will execute Destro's will. And we move on to page 6. We have a continuation of the flashback for another bit. Destro's regrets now fall on your shoulders. And we get more of Destro's dialogue while the metal turns out. It's like now I get it. That wasn't random pieces of metal. You'll see why in a minute. And we get more of Redestro asking a question. Why are my stress levels reducing? Why are my stress levels reducing? And in the middle panel of page 6, we get a we figure out what the hell's going on. Yeah, Redestro became Iron Man at this point. Oh my god. No, no, no. On second thought, not Iron Man. Not Iron Man. No, no. This is like Hulk Venom Iron Man combo going on here. And the name of this badass suit for Redestro, he calls it Crestro. Crestro? Really? God. Deodorant Co. High quality, high pressure stress amplification device. It's a goddamn giant Iron Man suit, for God's sake. And we do see his face for a second, and then more of the Iron Man armor completely engulfs the head. Now he's just a giant robot, basically. This is 150. And Shigaraki, seeing this giant Hulk Venom Iron Man suit just pops out of nowhere. He's like, don't really care. He's just having that face like, not impressed. And Shigaraki continues, is that so? And page 7, we cut away from Redestro. I'm still just calling him Destro or Redestro. I'm not calling him Chris Rowe. It's gonna get hard. We get a minor bit of Giga just still continuing destroying the city like a giant playground. And we get Twice as speaking in these next few panels. Well, ain't that great? And we see Giga just continuing mowing down the Quirk Liberation Army, more and more. And we cut, and once we got that out of the way with Giga, we go back to Twice and the real Twice being carried by his clones and the Togas. And the real Twice starts, ow, ow, that's my arm. Kevin, and we get the clones dialogue. Careful not to careful not to get careful not to get close. Careful not to get careful not to get too close. It still hasn't noticed us yet. I'm glad that they still haven't come after us but and the real Twice butts in. It's just too overpowered. If we can take this chance to meet up with the others. And we get a moment going back to Mr. Compress on his thoughts of this shocking revelation. The bastard actually got up early for once. If we fight that thing now, the League would be done for. And Mr. Compress bumps into Dobby, and Dobby starts speaking. Come on, I was just about to incinerate that ice bastard. And Mr. Compress buzzes into the Mad Doctor, and he starts a conversation with the Mad Doctor. Doctor, you're listening, aren't ya? Please, transport us. Giga is out of control. We're all gonna die! And we get the Mad Doctor continuing. Are you trying to kill John? What? John gets tonsillitis whenever he transports something. And we get Mr. Compress having an argument. Like I care. Just do it. Wait, that's clearly a lie. Weren't you the one using him left and right earlier? And the Mad Doctor continues. I have no intentions of associating, escalating thing. I have no intention of escalating myself with someone whose location has been tracked by outsiders. Contact me again once you lost the Liberation Army. And Mr. Compress continues, Shigaraki's going to die, and you're all right with that? He's all for one successor, you know. All the more reason he needs to be cornered. And on page 9, we see Eskimo Man just flying off towards Giga. And we get a bit of a flashback with Eskimo Man with Redestro. And I think Redestro is speaking these words in the flashback. Out of the special abilities used by those in the League, the one we must be most wary of is Dobby's wide area fire attacks. Getten, you are the keystone of the Liberation Army. And we see... Oh, so he has a real name, Getten. So Getten continues his thoughts on the subject. I'm sorry, Redestro. For me, I have caused you worry. And he's doing his cool ice dragon attacks, like having like multiple ice cubes and all the ice products in the entire city, going on to Giga. But that doesn't seem to work on Giga because on page 10, Giga just bitch smacks Getten with a building. And we see like random people of the Quirk Liberation Army, and like a giant boom, just that Giga just basically pimp smacked Getten. And random mooks of the Quirk Liberation Army says Getten. And then we go back to Trumpet and his goddamn fan, and we get we cut back to Trumpet's van, Trumpet and his goddamn fan. And we get Trumpet's dialogue on this subject as well. What is that thing? I must protect Redestro. And he goes bugging off while all the clones are just... While the clones and Spinner are trying to deal with the fan. And luckily enough, that Spinner manages to grab hold of the boot of the car? The trunk of the car? Of the van? Ugh. Grr. He's like holding on to dear life. And now at the bottom of page 10, we see Giga just going through another building. And he's screaming on the top of his voice, Master Successor! And weirdly enough, on page 11, Giga sees his master successor, and he's like dumbfounded. NANI? Yeah. He's like really shocked by this again. And we see Redestro in his armored form, and I will admit the helmet for the robot suit is kind of freaking awesome, with the beak on his head. And he continues his dialogue. Liberation over repossession. Liberation over repossession. The unchecked unusage of special abilities is but human nature. And we see Shigaraki I still think that his new cape is kind of friggin' awesome. It's kind of more like a black cloak, black cape, and I would totally would love to have Horikoshi keep that awesome cape and not put him back in that stupid jacket. And we see that Shigaraki is just not impressed. Huh. And he's just like, 150, huh? And we see more of Redestro's thoughts, suffering, reawakening, that this guy. And we see more of Shigaraki's dialogue. Is that what this plus ultra thing is all about? And he's not really impressed. And we cut back to Shigaraki's thoughts on page 12, and it's as any his inner monologue. Or no, I think this is Redestro's by the dialogue. It's as if he's been liberated from everything. It is as if he's been liberated from anything and everything. I see. So that's what this feeling in my chest is. And on the bottom of page 12, we hear like an explosion going off, and we only see Giga. And that's it, we don't know. From loyalty to faith, all is destroyed in the wake of one world-changing attack. My Hero Academia, number chapter 238, end. Wow. We're probably, yeah, I think we're getting into the end bits of My Hero Academia's arc of the Quirk Liberation Army is just starting to go to its logical end. So yeah, so it might end in a couple of more chapters. So that was chapter 238, and yeah, I had a lot of good feelings about this chapter, and I hope a lot of this stuff stays. Of some of the dialogue I said about Shigaraki's new look, and I hope they do keep the badass code. It's a lot better that way. The artwork is much better. So yeah, I'll see you hopefully next week for another chapter of My Hero Academia with 239. So until then, have a good day, everybody, and I'll see you next week. Bye for now.